Hi everyone, happy Chuseok. It's the holiday for Korea in the fall where you get together, spend time with family, and uh, eat. It's Thanksgiving in Korea. And today, let's reflect on why I will never be fully Korean. Not gonna be fully Korean. That sounds downright depressing to say it that way, and I hear foreigners say this kind of stuff all the time here in Korea, and it's true. Oh, I'll never be fully accepted into Korean society. They always look at me differently. I just want a Korean mother to try and guilt trip me into getting married and popping out some babies every Chuseok. That's what I want to hear. Okay, no, it's not always a perfect thing to be a Korean living in Korea, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today, changing the conversation a bit and looking at this whole being accepted into Korean culture topic from a new lens, in a way. And I may not be the best person to give my opinion on this topic, but I think I'm one of the more qualified people out there. I've lived in Korea for 11 years. I taught at a public middle school in Korea for 3 years. I went to and graduated from a grad school program here in Korea. I did the language schools at Korean universities. I constantly talk about how great the fall weather is and how I wish China would fix their pollution problems. And I eat sundae-guk like an ajushi, and I talk way too long with text messages on my phone, and I overpay for my coffee, but then I get my money's worth by staying at a cafe for way too long, and yeah, I'm basically Korean. And that's what a lot of my Korean friends say when they realize that my chopstick skills are muy bueno. I don't speak Spanish. Better than theirs. But am I really basically a Korean? And my opinion is no, and it's not for the reasons of racism and cultural homogeneity, the homogenous nature of Korean society. How's that? Is that better? It is. It's because of me, and it's because I'm very different. It's because I don't feel the same ways about certain things as Koreans do, and it's not a bad thing. Like take for today, for example. It's Chuseok, and the whole Chuseok holiday. And I was thinking today about what is Chuseok and why do I love it? Because I do. I spent most of today in a near-empty cafe reading, doing work, listening to an audiobook, and writing in a journal, and I freaking loved it. And the other thing is, I really don't have any emotional attachment to the holiday. I've never spent my Chuseok holiday with another family. I've never made songpyeon for Chuseok. I've never gone home during Chuseok and had my relatives ask me why I'm not yet married. And did you know that your cousin Brian already has 3 kids? Yes, I'm well aware that he's the same age as me. Thank you. And no, Mom, I don't want you to introduce me to this lovely young lady who works down at the coffee shop you go to every weekend. I'm not interested unless you have a picture. We'll see. But that is not a part of my history. My complex wirings of my brain don't include that. They weren't shaped by 22 years of growing up in a Korean family. So as much as I sometimes want to be considered as an equal to any other Korean, I'm not. There are differences that are just too big to overcome, and that goes for a lot of things. Images of Japan or the rising sun flag don't trigger me. In fact, I spent 3 years of my childhood in Japan, so I actually have a real fondness for Japan in my heart, and I can't wait to go back and visit soon. I don't have the same appreciation for K-pop because I didn't grow up with K-pop idol posters on my wall. I didn't sing along to my favorite K-pop songs in middle school because I'm not even sure I knew what K-pop was back when HOT and SES and GOD were melting hearts and paving ways for bands that first got introduced to me in 2009, Big Bang, 21 Girls' Generation. So I'm different, and a big reason that I will never fully be Korean is because I don't have a shared history with the people here. And because of that, my brain developed differently. I mean, maybe differently is not the right word, but, you get what I'm saying, right? But there are things that I bring to the table that can help Korea that are different. My experiences from America that I thought were good, there are some, trust me. The way I'm hesitant to talk about people's weight and ask them how much they weigh because I really think that's a small part of Korean society that I would like to see changed. And as I bring in that perspective just a little bit, maybe a few Korean friends of mine will change their perspective on maybe the potential harm that bringing up that question could have. Just saying. But the next time you think to yourself, if you're someone that wants to fit into Korea, hey, people don't treat me like I'm one of them, it's because you're not. And that's the beauty of it too. You being different is changing the very fabric of Korean culture, bringing in that different viewpoint from America, from Brazil, from Ghana, from Brazil, France, what did I say? I don't know. From these countries is helping Korea become more globalized. And in that way, we actually do belong because we're part of the changing landscape of South Korea. And in the big picture, that's actually pretty cool. So think about that this Chuseok as we, contemplate on what we're thankful for and for us who are in Korea, why we're happy to be here, and maybe why we miss home at the same time, too. Make sure to stay safe. As always, be healthy, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, Haseo, and happy Chuseok.